So what is a little bit different is there's 4 sections now to the APR. And we're going to go over each section today. So we won't move on until you guys have your questions answered for each section. They'll look very similar to what they've looked like in the past, but dividing it up into the 4 sections made it a little bit easier to, I guess it made it easier to load and things like that. It wasn't so big, to do that. So yeah. So do you want to talk about the guide in section 1 or part 1 or?
Yeah, so I will begin by sharing my screen, and as per Kelly and emphasizing, I will just log in from the very beginning and walk through those steps. Here we go. So
So when you attempt to, when you access the annual progress report page, and it shows you, if you scroll down a little bit further, it'll show you, there'll be a video that you can watch.
Sorry, getting there.
Okay, sorry. So there's a video you can watch to log in, and then it will teach you how to log in and create your login and whatnot. And then you can just click on that page and go ahead and you'll be able to create your account. Once you create your account, then you can just continue to use that login information as you're completing your report. I'm sorry, Isabella. If you, and now I just have a train of thought. If you have more than one project that you need to do an annual progress report for, you will need to create an account for each project. So Western Dairyland has more than one. You'll need to create an account for each separate project, or you can only work on one project at a time because the system doesn't know which project you're working on. So if you create a separate account, you'll be able to do that. That's what we recommend.
For sure. All right, and as Kelly mentioned before, we've divided the APR into 4 sections. It pretty much is the same as on the paper copy of the APR. It's just divided separately. We did this because the website does lag if there's too much content on a page. That way you can also work on each section at a time, and you can also work on them, start them and work on them at different times. So it's basically at your own freedom to work on which part you want to. And if you want your finance department to start working on the financial piece, they can go ahead and do so. All right, and as Kelly mentioned, we have an online APR guide. So if you click on it, we do try to update it as often as we can as questions come in. And here it is, including creating a username and definitions, outcomes, and we'll go over all of those things throughout this training, and also includes last time the guide was updated. And also here has the technical assistance. And Kelly, do you want to go over the submission process?
Yeah, when you can submit each part separately. You will submit each part separately. So at the end of when you get done with filling it out and you're done with your draft and you're ready to submit, you hit submit, and that section will be submitted to us, or that part will be submitted to us. And but you will need to submit all 3 parts by July 25th. Parts 1, 2, and 3, and then part 4, which is all the financial stuff, that is due on August 26th, so a month later. If you want to do all 4 parts out, by the 25th, you certainly can. But you will need to submit all all 3 parts by the 25th. You will get a confirmation email after each part has been submitted. And it will tell you to make sure you submit the other parts as well. So then once those parts are submitted, we will then take them from our end, get them into a PDF, and we will send those out to our reviewers, which we're working on getting those assignments done so that our reviewers can do that. But you will also get a link to your part that you submitted, and you will be able to click on that link, download your PDF, and save that for your records.
And what email, Kelly, will that go to? Like for Family Support Center, will it go to me or will it go to Jerry?
I believe we've made it your executive director and your local contact. So it'll probably go to both of you. If you're both, who's ever listed it, Jerry will get it for sure.
Okay, that's good.
As your executive director, and then whoever is listed as your local contact, I believe.
So I should put myself as the local contact person if I want that PDF.
I think so, yes.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Am I right on that, Isabella?
I thought it was associated with the email address that's with the account. What?
That's one of them.
Okay.
But I think 2 people actually get it. Or maybe that's 2 people on our end. Okay, Jerry's going to get it for sure. Or whatever email is associated with the login will get it.
I know whatever email is associated with the login.
Yes.
It's so that would if I'm going into the account, that would probably be mine then, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Sounds good. So don't change the local contact person. Leave that as Jerry.
Yes.
Okay.
Now I'm questioning.
I don't really care how I get it. I just want a copy of it.
It will always be sent to the person who on the login account that is
email.
they're submitting it.
That's me for sure. Okay.
And I don't know if it's going to be sent to Jerry. 100%. I'm hoping it. But if it doesn't, it's up to you to send it to get.
Yes, I'll get it to Jerry if Jerry's just on vacation. I mean, you all don't care about this, but I want to make sure to get it because Jerry is not going to get it immediately. So I want to make sure I have it after I submit it, that it all goes well. So if I don't get an email telling me I submitted it, I might reach out to you and just have you make sure you got it on your end. Okay.
Yes. Just let us know. We do receive the email notifications of submissions.
Okay. So at least you can tell me we got it.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
No problem.
Yeah.
And if you have any questions, feel free to give Kelly or I a call. Our door is always open, especially as we navigate this new process together.
Yes. So be patient with us because clearly I didn't have a good answer for that one. And we'll be patient with you all as well, since it's new for you and it's new for us. Let's just be patient with each other as we maneuver through this process. We think it's going to be better for everybody in the end, but we just need to get there.
All right, any questions? And there are the lovely due dates on here as well. If you have any questions, you can submit them at any time before the due date.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move into part 1. And excuse me while I try to navigate Zoom because the bar is right there. There we go. Docked it to the bottom. All right, so here's part 1. If you can't see it, just let me know. I can zoom in.
Good.
Good. All right. So this is part 1, and it all will have everything that was listed on section 1 of the APR. So that had the agency information and I believe the program information, such as contact information, fiscal year, board info, and we'll just walk through that right now. Put your agency name and program. If your agency is receiving funding in more than one initiative, you'll please put that here. If you don't remember the name of your program, just give us a call because I know that things change. So I put Maplesboro because that's the name of my cat, and I just live in her world. All right, main office information. So please put your mailing address, chief executive officer, email title, all of that as well. We put this here because if, for instance, your main office location is different than your local office, and we'll get to that definition down when we get there. But if your main office is located in Milwaukee, we want that address right here and contact information. And then also list an option is if your main office mailing address the same as the street address, but yes, no. And local office information, what we mean by that is the office that is located in the Chippewa Valley. So as I mentioned, if your main office is headquartered in Milwaukee, we want to know the mailing address of your local office in the Chippewa Valley. And if you don't know what local office means, it is also located on our APR guide and has definitions on that page. Local key decision makers. Okay, go ahead.
So, we've always put Eau Claire for the NFP program. We've always put Eau Claire because we're the lead agency as the initial, but are you wanting us to put Denver down as the?
No, just the Eau Claire City County Health Department.
Okay, that's okay. I just wanted to make sure that we weren't supposed to put the National Service Office in Denver.
We're just concerned about, we mean main office by the main address for the agency. If that makes sense.
That's good. Thank you.
Okay, cool. And local key decision maker, that is the contact person in the Chippewa Valley in case we have any questions, because we don't want to give the CEO in Milwaukee a call if we have questions that relate directly to your program in the Chippewa Valley. This definition can also be found in the online APR guide. And also want to note as well, anything that is asterisk in red is mandatory. You can't skip it, it's required. Another
if you try to skip it, it won't let you submit. So,
and it'll tell you exactly what information, which blank is missing that info.
Mm-hmm.
One of the other important things we want to highlight is the yes, no. So some changes, if you've noticed in the past, if you've completed the APR, is that we've usually had a text box in this right below this question. So if you click yes, a box will open and allow you to explain if there are any changes. There's no word count, so I don't know if we've ever had a word count, have we?
Not on APR.
So there's no word count, right to your heart's content. And if you see this little few dashes in the corner, that means the box is expandable. It just moves vertically. So feel free, don't have to worry about space or word count. And also ask for your fiscal year, program information, same thing, name, title, any significant changes, and success stories and testimonials. Feel free to share as much information as you want on these questions. We're just wanting to know, we want to hear your stories, and the better you're able, the more stories we hear from you, the better we can tell your story, especially with campaign season coming up. So
this is, the annual progress report is not necessarily for us to, grade you on how well you did. We want to hear what happened. We invested in your organization. We invested, community members' money. And now we want to tell them what happened with their investment. We really want to, hear the good, the bad, the ugly. What were the great things that happened? What were the things that were struggles? Because when we're out there on our campaign, we can talk about, hey, our programs are needing more funding because, or here are still some of the issues that we're dealing with, and we want to be able to assist in that. We can tell the story of, we had this last grant cycle, we had twice as much request for funding as we had funding for. So clearly there's a great need, and we want to be able to tell that. So please don't feel like you need to be brief in your comments. This is your opportunity to tell your story. Tell us how your year went. We want to know that, and we do pull stuff out of your APRs that we use in our campaign, and sharing with others, when we're talking about what we're doing here at United Way. We can't really talk about what we do at United Way, although we are doing more, but you guys are really doing the bulk of the work, and we want to be able to talk about that. And we can't if we don't have it. So please take the time.
Sure. Next question, explain how has your program maintained or starting to strengthen the relationships with your program's collaborative partners, and how can UW-GCB support your program beyond funding? Same questions that have been on the previous APRs. Have there been any gaps in services? Yes, no. If yes, a box will pop open and fill in as much detail as you can. And have there been any changes made to your program? And something we did add in this APR in the last one was our diversity and equities and inclusion question is, how has your program addressed inequities and disparities within the community? Another thing is, were United Way funds used to match other grants? If yes, please check if it was government, private foundation, or other. If you click other, a box will open and you can state that source or name the type of grants, and then it will also ask you to input how much our funds were used to match. So for this box in particular, you can't enter any letters. You can only enter numbers, or you can use this fun little arrow and just click on it. It's obviously more efficient just to type it in yourself.
I was gonna say, that's not very efficient.
No. And have there been any changes? Is there anything else you would like to share about your program? Yes, no. If yes, the box will pop open. And don't forget to save draft, as Kelly mentioned, because this will be your new best friend, because the last thing we want to happen is you do all this work and you don't click save draft and all your work was, well, kind of down the toilet. So we want you to save draft, and when you click on it, it will turn green and say your submission has been saved. You may return to this form later. And if you try to submit it, this will happen. Please fill out this field and it will point exactly to which field is missing info. Any questions?
I have one. So if on the bottom, it always says the robot thing on mine, do you have to click that too and save the draft, or it doesn't matter?
Can you say that again, Becky?
For when I've been in the report, I always have the bottom where it says you're not a robot and you have to do that check thing.
Oh, the CAPTCHA.
Yeah.
Please click on that.
Do you have to click on that and save, or can you just save?
I have just been saving, Becky. I have not clicked the robot thing yet.
Okay. All right. I've been doing both.
I think either is fine, to be honest. It's Jenny, have you been able to go back to your work and see it? Okay.
Yep. It's been fine.
Okay, thanks. I know that was just a minor detail.
No problem. I'm sure it's something we don't see our end, so it's good to know that you're telling us, so we know how to address it in the future. Any questions on part 1? Okay, so we'll go on to part 2, and Kelly, I'll stop sharing and you can proceed to share your screen.
Are you seeing anything?
No.
Huh. Let's try this one.
Yes.
How about that one?
Yes.
All right. Okay. So part 2, looks like there's not much here, right? Look, you get to put your agency name, your program name. Email addresses are needed for confirmation emails to be sent. See, that's why I think it's the chief executive officer and local key decision maker, because they're the ones that get this. So I'm now relatively confident again that that's who will be getting these. But what you have to do is select whichever initiative your program is part of. So we have health, education, financial stability, basic needs, and the micro grant. So obviously CVTC micro grant is the only one that should be clicking this box, the micro grant box. And then specific questions will come up based on your specific initiative. So I won't go through the micro grant one specifically, but I'll click on the education one. So you can see, please, it'll ask questions, please describe how your program has contributed to the bold goal of, education. And so you will do your narrative on that. But then you will get to outcome measurements. When you get to the outcome measurements on all of the initiatives, if there is a space for a number, but it's not an outcome or an indicator that you measured, you will still need to put zeros in there. It will not let you proceed if you don't. If you leave it blank, it will tell you to go back. So make sure that, again, if there's a particular outcome or indicator that you did not measure, still put a 0 in there. It will ask you for, hold on a second. It will ask you for total number actually served. So this is where in the data I've noticed over the last couple of years that agencies are doing data in different ways. And so what we want to do is, and you don't know that because you're doing it your way, but we see them all. And so what we're trying to, and it's hard for us then to combine data when we have different data and different ways of collecting it. So what we're trying to do is collect data in the same way so that we're able to, combine it a little bit better by initiative. So what we have here is two numbers that we're looking for. We're looking for the total number that you've actually served. So that's how many people were in your program that you actually served. 200. So you served 200 people. That's what you put in there, is 200. But then what this number is your actual number measured for your outcome indicators. So that's the number of people that actually completed your surveys and you have those surveys in hand. So say you had 200 people or whatever, however you measured them. So say you had 200 people and of those 200 people, 100 people took surveys, but only 50 of them returned them. The number we want in here is 50, because that's what we're going to know. That's what you know exactly what happened to. You don't know what happened to the other 150. And so we want to know what happened to those folks that actually got measured. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. That is probably the outcomes. This section is probably the thing that we have made more phone calls on to try to get, different information on from all of you, wondering how you did what. And so hopefully this will answer that a little bit better.
And the directions are really clear when you go into the guide. They're very clear.
Yes. And we have links to the guide on every one of these when we start talking about the indicators on how to actually do it, how to do the math. I did math examples for you in the guide. So then when you get into your outcomes and your indicators in your application, you projected what your results were going to be for each outcome. And so for this one, it's the percent and number of children, or each indicator, I'm sorry. Percent and number of children who display developmental growth and health and physical well-being. So again, say you projected to serve 100 youth or 100 kids, and that 90% of them were going to achieve this indicator. So that's what we want to see here is what did you project based on your application? And because we extended the application an additional year, just use your third year numbers that you had in there. Then what we want to see is what were your actuals? What was the actual number and what is the actual percent? And we show you how to, in the guide, we show you how to do the math. But this number, again, is going to be based off of the number that you actually measured. So you may have served 200, you might have only measured 100. So base it off of that 100, not 200. Okay, and then
can I ask you a question, Kelly?
Sure.
So we serve moms and babies. I went round and round with our data person this afternoon, actually, just before this meeting. So we have 80 children that we have served.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have 117 moms.
Mm-hmm.
So I split them up into outcome one was the 80 kids, because we're in the children's survey. And then in outcome two, I put the 117 as parents. Now, it looks like then we said we were going to see 121 people. Well, when we only did 80 kids, we're really below our mark. And I'm not sure whoever decided on that number, which we change for the next time. But so would that number, if we had the 117 and the 80 kids, do we put that together as somewhere up above on the so if you go up all the way
I see. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So I'm wondering, is the total number served, would that be the total number? I mean, we survey we're lucky because the nurses survey every person. But we have some that leave our county, but we still get demographics on them, but we don't do the outcomes. So there's NAs on some.
Mm-hmm.
So we exclude them so we only do the actual number that had outcome indicators. But as far as the total number actually served, would it be 117 plus the 80, or is it just going to do what I split up? I did 80 kids here and then the 117 for.
Yeah, I think
So there was my question.
Yep. Yeah, so we're gonna need to adjust that because you're right. I mean, one is actually asking for kids and the other one is asking about your caregivers, right?
Yes, sorry. Right. I muted myself. Yep.
Oh, so it is here though.
Yeah, it is there. So I mean, we don't have an overall overarching, but but we.
Yes. So yes, do it that way. Kids on the top, adults on the bottom, because where that number combines is when we do the attachment D demographic thing. Then that number will combine and you'll get a total amount.
So the other thing that complicates this is that we also survey, they only do demographics on the collateral, we call them collateral contacts, meaning if there is a boyfriend in the home, if there is a grandmother in the home, if there is other children, because we're impacting them in the teaching that we're doing.
Yep.
So when we get down lower, we're gonna have more in our total in the English speaking, that part. So our numbers are really look a little different.
So if there's another adult in the home, you're not including them in this number?
We're not including them there. No, we're only doing the care, the one initial caregiver.
Okay,
And then we were asked to after the first year to make sure we also include the people that were either in the home hearing our education or being impacted by what we're doing. So they wanted us to gather collateral or demographics on those people. Also, if we were also then moved into a multi-pilot, so we could serve women that had more than one child. So they wanted us to include those children because they're being impacted by mom being in our program.
okay.
But we can put a note down below because I
Yep.
do that anyway, saying that 88 collateral contacts were also surveyed.
So are they surveyed too?
Well, they're not doing outcome indicators. They're doing just surveys of demographics.
Demographics. Okay. Yes. Okay. So all right. So then you could put the total number served of these adults could include everybody, but then the actual number measured from your outcomes are just that primary caregiver.
So you're thinking we should move those 88 into the served?
You could, I think so. But then you're just measuring this many.
Yeah. Okay.
And then at the bottom, where I think you can do some comments or whatever.
Yep.
Just remind us that that's what that is.
Yeah, and I did put that comment in there that we served those and the 88 that we didn't include in the number, but we might have to do that next year because I don't know that our data person can pull that data, but we
Okay.
can do it for next year. So
Sure.
yeah. Okay.
Sure. Yep. And then you all will have, sorry for everybody on that one, but hopefully there was something in there you might be able to pull from. As you can see, data is complicated. And so, which is why we want to try to get things measured in the same way. So, here's a text box, if your actual results are plus or minus or different, represent more than 5% of a difference from what you thought they were going to be, please explain and be specific, write, let us know which indicator specifically you're talking about. But if there's any other comments about your outcomes that you want to list, you certainly can do that in this spot here. So that was education. Again, I'm not going to go through, not planning on going through everybody's questions. Health, there's how did it fit with the bold goal? Again, your outcomes and your indicators, or your agency name and program, I'm sorry. Then your outcome, you're actually served, actual measured, your outcomes and your indicators. So again, it looks very similar. Financial stability, again, very similar. How did you meet with how did you fit within the bold goal? Complete your outcomes. Some initiatives, you have to do all of the outcomes and the indicators. Some you only have to do some of them. So, it has been set up to allow that to happen. And then those of you that aren't in basic needs, sorry, this is all they have to do. Basic needs doesn't have outcomes and indicators. They just have to talk about being part of the bold goal and how did it fit in. All right, so again, save your draft so that you can go back or hit submit, and you will get your confirmation email. All right, anything on part 2? Okay, part 2, use the guide as you can go back to education. When you're doing the outcome indicators, the link is here to get you to the guide, and then it's here, and then it's here. We want you to use the guide, okay? So go back to the guide when you're doing your outcome indicators. Again, just so we can try to get the math being done the same way so we can talk about collectively what you guys are doing. All right, any questions? I will stop sharing. And Isabella can do part 3.
All right, I will share my screen again. Yeah. There we go. Okay. So part 3, you'll click on it and it'll ask you to fill out the information. Same thing with the agency program info, CEO, local key decision maker. Some things that we've added, attachment A and I believe B are embedded in this lovely form right here. So for attachment A, it is the budget, and you'll click on here to download it, and it'll download right there, and then upload the file. It'll say specifically upload requirements. It needs to be in Excel format, so we will not accept PDFs. Excel format, and you can only submit one. And because if you try to submit more than one, you'll end up replacing that. So only one.
Can you click on the attachment, Isabella?
Yes. Here we go.
All right. So, as Isabella said, you download it, save it, fill it out, then you upload it back into this document. Just a couple of things. Please remember to, where it says organizational name, and you see that orange box, put your name in there. If this ever gets separated, we may not, it isn't an issue, but we want to be able to look at it and know whose it is. In the yellow box, put your program name in there.
This is also why we don't do paper copies anymore, because we used to get things mixed up.
Yes. So this will make it a whole lot easier. If you did a budget revision for your 4th year, that's what goes in the blue column. The first column, your proposed program budget. If you did a budget revision, that's what goes in there. If you didn't do a budget revision, your 4th year budget that you submitted to us back in May of 2021, June-ish, I think it was May of 2021, that's what goes in there, and that's what you start with. Then of course, the purple column, the next column is your actual program budget. So what actually happened? How much money did you actually get in revenues, and what money did you actually spend? Then you go to the green column of the proposed, how did you ask to spend your United Way dollars? And then finally, how the orange column is, how did you actually spend it? Again, if you did a budget mod, that's where you would get those numbers. If you didn't do a budget mod, it's the 4th year budget that you submitted to us back in May. Okay.
And another thing as well, please provide as much detail as you can in this red column right here, because it helps us and also the financial review team who is reviewing this understand, what happened and what did you spend, your funding on as well. So please put as much detail. We really appreciate it. I especially do, because I don't want to email you saying, hey, why did you spend like, I don't know, $2,000 on this? Or on like printing or publications. So please provide as much info as you can. And then you will upload and submit it here. And attachment B, these are documents that you have on your end that you have to upload as well. And they must be submitted in a PDF form. So we will not accept a Word document. It has to be PDF, your organizational chart for your agency, and then one for your program as well. Attachment C is your board of directors and advisory board charts. Again, requirements are it has to be PDF and will not be accepted in any other formats. This is something that you have to upload that you have as well. All right, attachment D, remember that log Excel sheets that went on forever and had all the different columns and then the demographic info? Well, guess what? It's condensed into this form right here. And you can now fill it in. And please enter the unduplicated clients in Chippewa and Eau Claire counties. So you can just enter 10 and then 5. And if you don't know, please tell us how many unknown there are. If you don't measure it, please put it in the unknown.
Mm-hmm.
And ages served. If you don't record that specific age group, please put 0. Remember, anything that is asterisk has to be filled in. All right, same thing for race as well. And Hispanic and ethnicity, non-Hispanic, unknown. You don't measure it, put a 0. And we'll go up to the totals at the end. So residency area. If you have clients in Chippewa specifically, please list them here. And if they're from an unknown area in Chippewa County, please place that, type that 100. If you measure both, you'll see also Eau Claire County will show up as well. And then we'll just put that in, and also unknown area, I believe another box will open as well.
So I do have a question about that unknown residency
Yes.
aspect. So we know where people are from, but not everybody's from Eau Claire or Chippewa County. So I'm just gonna put those folks in the unknown residency. Does that make sense?
That works.
Okay. In the future, is that something that maybe it doesn't matter, but like, I just like non-Chippewa Eau Claire residency versus unknown is if that's something that you want to track, but do I need to put that anywhere, or is that just fine to like say that they're unknown in the unknown area?
It's not a huge number, is it?
Can't remember, Kelly.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's like under 50 people, I mean, it's not, and my guess is that with the work we do, right, like that some of those folks are people that are purposefully seeking services outside of their county of origin because of safety concerns, and also the reality that some folks that we work with are transient, right? Like they're moving state to state, or maybe in the pandemic, we have a few folks who we're still working with that live in different states that because of Zoom we can still work with, right? So it makes sense like why we're continuing to work with them, but it's not like it's not 400 people, so right. I think it was around 40, but it was for sure under 50.
Yeah. And how many people total do you serve?
I think it was 350 something this year.
Okay. So
530. It was 531.
Yeah. So I would say go ahead, put them in the unknown. That certainly certainly interesting information, and maybe something that you want to just, write in the narrative somewhere.
Okay.
And I mean, I think because we typically fund Eau Claire and Chippewa County, I guess we've never really been concerned of outside of the county. So that'll be something that we'll need to talk about internally for the future.
Okay, but at least for now, just put the folks outside of Chippewa and Eau Claire in unknown.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Same thing with annual household. If you don't record that data, just put it in the unknown. One thing that we want to note as very important is that all the demographic totals listed below should be equal. If they are not, please go back. In reality, the numbers I put in should have showed up right here and should have given me a total. If these numbers are not the same, then there's been an error on somewhere. So please ensure that all of these totals are adding up to be the same number.
Yeah, so that's your check right there is, they should, I'm not sure why it didn't show up like that for you, but if you have under your gender total 100, but under your age total, you only got 99, you're missing one. Find it or put it in unknown. If you think you've got it all or whatever. So just make sure all of those numbers add up. And again, it's just data for us. We're data driven now. And so we're just trying to make sure we've got correct data.
And I'm just going to scroll up really quickly as well to the financial stability, because I believe there's another attachment we have to upload as well, Kelly.
Financial stability and micro grants have an additional attachment.
Yep. So financial stability attachment, just download it right here. It can only be accepted in an Excel format, so please upload that.
It's nothing new. It's one you've always done. But just a different format. Well, actually, same format. You just pull it up from there.
Yep. And then after that, you've reviewed all the contents, double checked your numbers that they're all the same. And then just write your name of organization, name of program, the signature. This one is where you can just write it out right there. And today's date, name of CEO. And if you're ready to submit, click submit. If you wanted to save it and mark it out later, please click save draft. Any questions? Okay.
All right. So those are the 3 sections that you need to complete by July 25th, which is a Monday. Normally we have these done on a Friday. Friday, July 22nd, our office is closed for the day. So don't try to call us on Friday and expect to get help. You won't. You'll get our voicemail. Don't email us because we won't answer it. We might, we'll be available on Monday though. And we'll be expecting to get lots of things coming in. Lots of things coming in before my battery's gonna die. Lots of things coming in before July 25th. So let's make sure that we get those things done. So if my computer dies, Isabella, you're gonna have to take over till I find a power cord.
Okay.
So section 4 is all of the financial stuff. Now, last year we made a recommendation was made, and a request was, could we submit attachment A right away, or with this first round of stuff, or could we submit it with the financial stuff? And we said you could do it either or. So that still applies for this year. You can submit attachment A, the budget stuff, with your first set of information or with the second set of information.
Did you want me to share my screen?
I got it, I think.
Do you also want me to give you a battery, the power cord?
Maybe.
Yeah, I'll do it. Okay. The floor is
Okay,
yours.
what can you guys see anything? No,
Just you.
just me. Why is it not sharing? Share screen. Nothing? Nothing.
Still you.
There.
You and Isabella.
All right. So let me get rid of this. I'm gonna have to duck under the desk here for a minute. Let's stop that. All right. Can you still see my screen? You can't, can you?
Just you.
What the heck? There. Now we got it, right?
We still see you.
You,
Are
Sorry.
are you clicking share and then the screen, click on the screen and then click share at the bottom right?
okay, I did it that way too. All right, do you wanna,
Yep, I got it.
yeah,
Sorry. There we go.
whatever. Glad we're amongst friends. All right. So this is all the financial stuff that you'll need to submit in August. So again, you fill out your agency name, your program name, chief executive officer with a local decision maker email. Then it's going to ask you, did you previously complete attachment A? If you answer yes, nothing happens. You just move on. If you answer no, then you get that box where you download the budget form and then upload it, complete it, and then upload it again. Okay, so this allows you to do it in either section, either do it in the July one or do it in this one. Then you move on to the next attachments, E through I. So did you previously complete attachments E through I for another program? If you have more than one program, you only have to submit these documents one time. So if you answer yes to this question, nothing happens, and then all you have to do is go to sign and do all of that. If you answer no, then it gives you the option or the opportunities then to upload all of the documents that are needed. So your agency profit and loss statement, include your budgeted versus your actual comparison. So your agency's profit and loss statement, most recently completed, what was, what did you budget? And then what was your actual? Your balance sheet as of, June 30th is probably okay. Balance sheet, whenever, recently, obviously. Print one of the, or upload one of those. I believe that needs to be in a PDF. Attachment G is your tax return. No, is your audit. your most recent audit. If you are an organization that is less than $300,000, you are not required to complete an audit. So just submit a piece of paper that says our budget is, or our revenues are less than $300,000 and we are not required to complete a budget. Upload that. Otherwise, upload whatever you are required. You know, if you're over 300,000, you need an independent certified public accountant to look at your books. If you're over 500,000, it's a complete audit. And then you upload that. Attachment H is your most recently completed tax return. If you're an entity that doesn't file taxes, then again, create a document that says we are not required to file taxes because we are whatever you are, and then upload that so that we have that and we know we're not, because it won't let you submit if you don't. Okay, if you don't do that, it won't let you submit it, your application or your APR. Then attachment I used to be an attachment, and now it's not. Now it's embedded. So has your organization obtained any long-term greater than 1 year debt over the review period? If you click no, it's just going to go on. If you click yes, what does it do? I think it's just going to do nothing. No, wait. Click yes again. Okay, if yes, please explain the purpose of the debt. So if you're clicking no on stuff, you know, nothing's going to pop up. But if you click yes and we want more explanations, then a text box will pop up for you to explain it. This is for our financial reviewers so that they came up with these questions. They thought it was questions that would give them just a little bit better understanding of your organization and what's going on. And then when you've got that done, again, then you just go to the bottom. And again, you submit this one time per agency, sign it, date it, name of your CEO, or name of your organization, name of your CEO. Save it if you want, or save your draft if you're not done with it. Hit submit if you're ready to submit to us. Any questions on that?
Please read each of these statements. You can't just click no all the way. And I'm sure y'all won't do that, but you know, if this one says no, please explain. And all this information as well. It changes. And so for Jenny, because your agency is receiving funding from one program, either you or Sue or Becky submit it. So yeah, just one copy and that's fine. And I think for Becky Knudsen, I think because you're a government agency, you'll just have to submit a Word document with a PDF that says you're a government affiliate.
Well, but if Becky and I have separate like logins and things for RiverSource and for TV program, will Sue have to go into both of them?
No, she'll only have to go into one and submit it once.
Oh, that's really nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, she might already know that, but if she doesn't, I will pass it along.
Yeah. And then, yeah, Becky Knudsen, yes, just
Yeah.
the tax return with the Nurse Family Partnership. You just submit a cover letter that explains why you don't submit a tax return.
Cover statement, not a letter. Don't make it long.
No, just the
Brief.
cover sheet.
Okay.
Just brief.
Okay.
Yeah, so this will, if you answered, did you already submit these documents? This will, it'll let you continue to go through if you already have, but we'll on our end have to, it won't know which other program it needs to go to, and we'll on our end have to take care of that, but that's not a big deal.
That's our problem, not yours.
Yeah. Yeah. Once everything is submitted, like I said, you know, the first part will get reviewed by a member of our advisory council for each initiative. And then the financial stuff that is due in August will be reviewed by our members of our finance committee. Then it goes to our total advisory, our entire group of our advisory councils for review and discussion. Then it goes to our community impact committee. Then it will go to our ultimately our board of directors for final review. So it goes through quite a review process. And then you will get a letter from us saying it's been a yay or a nay. But we will, you will know if there's an issue before it gets to the board level for sure. If there's something going on and you're a program partner that is continuing to be funded, you know, we'll be talking with you, and we've had to do that, work with some programs to help them, particularly with outcomes and whatnot. So, you know, we'll continue to work with you on that. Again, we've invested in you. We want you to be successful. And so that's our goal. We're not doing these APRs to try to take your money away. We're doing these APRs so that we can see what's going on. You can tell us your stories, again, the good, the bad, the ugly, and then we can work together if there's issues happening, and we want to help you be more successful if you're not. But if you are, we want to be able to share that out as well. Any questions on section 4? Part 4, I guess. All right. Then the last thing I guess we want to finish going through is the guide. We've gone through most of this, most of the guide. Isabella, you want to talk about that?
Yes, let me zoom in and open it. And I'll share my screen again, because you know how much I love doing that.
Apparently I don't want to do that.
All right, so if you click on the online APR guide is located in part 2, and also on the front page as well. I've opened it up already, and it's an intro, what's different about this APR, the creating a username that we've already talked through, accessing the APR, where the login is on our website, contact definitions, main office, chief executive officer, local office information, and local key decision maker. And then as Becky Knudsen mentioned, she really liked how easy the formulas were to navigate and look at on the reporting outcomes and indicators. Thank you, Kelly, for creating this lovely formula that's pretty easy and straightforward. I'm not a numbers person, and I was able to understand it, so we're good. And then filling out the APR, anything that is marked with an asterisk is required. You cannot submit a part without filling it in the field or text box. And I showed you that this is what the arrow will look like. Yes, no questions. And depending on if you click yes, no, a text box will appear. Talk about the text box expansion, and attachments D, E, and I are embedded in the APR and do not need to be uploaded. Those are the ones with the fields where you can just type in the numbers. The timeout page. So we did get a question about if the APR will time out. It will time out after 24 hours, but please sure to click Save Draft. Save it. Save it. And then submission, you will receive a confirmation email after the submission of each part from Kelly. And if you submitted attachments parts 3 and 4, you will also receive a copy of the attachments, I believe. And please be sure to retain a copy of your APR. Here's some of the Q&A we asked about. When asked about if you're funded and if your agency is funded in more than one initiative, how do you create separate logins? And asking about completing separate APRs, save draft button. More save draft. Can't emphasize that button and enough. Can more than one person be logged in on the account at the same time? Yes. So, and then if you get locked out of your account, this is what will happen. This is the process. You'll be locked out after you attempt to log in 5 times. I've done this where I've entered the wrong password. And then just follow the steps on how to reset your password. If you have any issues logging in, please contact us immediately so we can try and get those issues resolved, because we may need to go to our website provider for that information and assistance. And will this guide be updated and how often? As you know, mentioned, we will update it as more questions come in. And if they're common, it'll indicate the last time this guide is updated. And then if you have any questions, just give us a call, send us an email.
Isabella, can you go back to the, can more than one person be logged in at the account on the at the same time?
Yes. It is.
Can you read what's underneath it?
Information, right, that's right.
So the answer is no.
It's strongly discouraged, but you can be, but it's strongly discouraged to have 2 individuals working on the same APR at the same time, because your information can potentially not be saved. We don't want the information to overlap. And for one person's work to not be saved, if you're going to be have 2 people working on the same account, please just organize that so that there's not any issues with overlapping and you end up getting someone mad.
So I think the answer is physically, yes, 2 people can be logged in at the same time. But as Isabella was saying, we discourage that so you don't lose your data.
For sure.
And that's all we got, folks. What are the 2 things that I wanted you to remember?
Save, 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 save.
Yeah, and
Log in because your data needs to be saved.
there you go. All
Do I
right.
get a chocolate for that?
If we were in person, I would give you the whole bag of candy. All right, what questions? Amy, do you have a question, or is your hand just up because? Oh, it's not up. Never mind.
You guys did a great job. The document is clear, and I'm really glad we do not have to do attachment D, because attachment D was always so small you could never even read what it was. So
Agreed.
it looks great. We put it in today, and I'm like, oh, this is amazing.
Good, good. I'm glad you like it.
Hey, Kelly, this is Yolanda. I have a question on attachment K. For that data, is that going to be the same as the actual number served? Is that what you're looking for that data to have?
Attachment K, I would believe it would, yes.
So let's say I have 100 surveys. Are you expecting on attachment K that I have 100 entries for that information that you're requesting on attachment K? This is my first time completing, so I just want to make sure that I'm providing all the information.
Let's talk about that at a different time. Let me just because I want to look at attachment K closer regarding your program specifically.
Okay, sounds good.
So I'll take a look at that, and then yeah, I'll get in touch with you on that.
Perfect, thank you.
Yep. Other questions? All right, so we're not going to get any phone calls from you guys because you understand it all.
You understand the assignment, right? Just had to say that, so.
We understand, but you never know once we get into it, you never know what we might uncover.
Right,
That's fine.
exactly. Now, actually, if we get questions from people that attended, that's not as bad as getting questions from people who did not attend. So you guys are all good. Well, with that, hey, actually, Yolanda, why don't you stay on since we got a little bit of extra time? Why don't you stay on and we can let everybody else go? Would that work?
Yeah, that would be perfect. Thank you.
Isabella, can we do that since you created this?
I believe
meeting?
so. I can also change you to make you host.
Okay.
And I'll stop recording right now.